Hello, Smith Elementary School parents. This is your proud principal, Tammy Vasu, here to tell you what you need to know about accommodations and modifications. The goal of this presentation is to show how important parent involvement is to the success of each child at Smith Elementary School. Today we will discuss 3 laws that protect students with special needs. The overall goal of these laws is to provide all students with the equal access to education in the least restrictive environment. At Smith Elementary School, we want to provide accommodations and modifications to guarantee that students with disability have access to an appropriate educational program. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act requires that schools provide an opportunity for students with disabilities to be involved and make progress in the general curriculum. Prior to this law, schools were able to prohibit students with disabilities from joining their school system. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act is a federally funded act that ensures a free, appropriate education for all children. The act not only is designed to help educate students, but also to prepare them for life. First, the act has a zero rejection policy for children ages 3 to 21. Everyone is given the opportunity to qualify under this act. A non-discriminatory evaluation is given, and parents are asked to consent or reject the process of qualification. If they consent, then a team is formed to create an individualized plan to meet the needs of the student. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act is designed to provide each child with a free and appropriate public education. This means that all children will be provided with the tools necessary for success in an educational program. These tools can be anything from transportation, assistive technology, developmental, corrective, or other supportive services. The school is required to provide any services deemed appropriate to meet the needs of all students. Special education grants are given to states to assist with providing with the free, appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment. During the evaluation process, a team is developed to create an individualized education plan, also known as an IEP. As part of this plan, parents have the right to know if their child is receiving accommodations or modifications. The parent has the right and is strongly encouraged to be an active part of the IEP team. The parents are also to be kept informed of any changes to the placement, assessment, or modifications to the plan. If a parent disagrees with any recommendations, they have the ability and right to contact the IEP representative at the school. The most important factor is that everyone on the IEP team has a chance to share information through open dialogue when it comes to planning for the success of students. What are the differences between an accommodation and a modification? An accommodation is a change in the way students learn and how they are tested. An example of an accommodation is more time to complete a task or longer time on an assessment. Less problems could be given on an assignment or test. Another example would be special communication systems to assist a child with meeting the general curriculum. A modification is a change that is made to what students are expected to learn. Students may be required to complete part or some of the course requirements. They could also have alternative goals and use alternate assessments to evaluate completion of the set goals. Section 504 is part of a federal civil rights law known as the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. This law prohibits discrimination against students with disabilities and ensures them a free and appropriate public education. Section 504 protects students with disabilities and the fact that schools cannot exclude students with disabilities from any program or activity that is provided to students without disabilities. Students being served under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act are also protected under Section 504. Schools must make sure that all students are receiving equal access to educational opportunities. Schools have special requirements under Section 504. First, schools will provide an accommodation plan that will document how the school will provide support for the student's education needs. An individualized written plan is not required by schools, but documentation of evaluations and accommodations is required. What is the role of the teacher at Smith Elementary School? Teachers are expected to communicate with parents on a regular basis regarding student progress, classroom modifications, and simply sharing of ideas. The teacher is expected to be flexible in their teaching techniques and strategies for working with all students. Teachers may need to modify their classroom environment or make other accommodations to meet the needs of his or her students. The teachers at Smith Elementary School are kept up to date with best practices and are expected to implement those practices at all times to give each child the best available educational experience. The role of the parent is key to provide important information to schools about their child's needs. Parents have the responsibility to build a relationship with the school and teachers to help their child succeed. Parents must remember that they are responsible for being part of the team that sets goals for the success of their child. As a parent, what should you expect? You should expect to receive notification in regards to identification, evaluation, and placement of your child. You should expect to be notified by the school prior to any change or discontinuing of services. And you should also expect to be given an opportunity to review your child's records to participate in an impartial hearing and review process. Lastly, we'll discuss the Meta Consent Decree, which was created to protect students whose first language is other than English. Under the civil rights law, students that are English language learners are protected. English language learner students are guaranteed the right to equal access to all educational programs. Students are ensured the comprehensible instruction under the civil rights law. A team at the school is comprised of ESOL teachers or teacher, school designees, school counselor, parents, and any other representative that is responsible for determining a student's eligibility. Parents have the right to review their child's plan that is maintained in the student's file. In addition, parents can expect communication in their native language so that they are aware of what services are being provided and that they meet the equal access requirements. What can you expect of Smith Elementary School? You can expect non-academic and extracurricular activities will be provided to meet the needs of all students. If the needs cannot be met at our school, then the school will refer an alternative placement while still maintaining the free appropriate education. Students placed in private facilities will be monitored on a regular basis, and all decisions will be data-based decisions. In addition, students will be reevaluated after 3 years to ensure that your child is receiving an appropriate education. The school will follow policies and procedures to prevent inappropriate identification. What can you expect of teachers at Smith Elementary School? You can expect that your teachers will review data and be a part of the team to create plans for students with special needs. Teachers will stay up to date with strategies and practices that work best for the student population. And teachers will communicate on a regular basis with parents. How will teachers assess children at Smith Elementary School? Teachers will use classroom-based assessments rather than standardized assessments. Teachers will be part of a multidisciplinary planning team, and teachers will incorporate the use of portfolios, rubrics, and self-evaluation techniques. All of these are a better way of understanding what each child is capable of doing, how they have met their goals, and whether or not they are ready to proceed to the next steps in their educational program. Most importantly, the key to success will be teamwork. Teamwork being that the school is in constant communication with parents and that parents are in constant communication with the school in order to provide the best possible education for each and every child at Smith Elementary School. Through the use of Response to Intervention, or RTI, Smith Elementary School will be able to support students with learning needs. This process begins with high-quality instruction, early intervention, and frequent progress measurement. Now it's time to put the individualized plans into action and watch our students grow towards achieving their goals. The following sources were used for reference for the previous presentation.